And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and touching base with you as I do every day. And it's a new week and it's the last day of June. We are starting the second half of the year tomorrow. This is the end of the first half of the year. Man, that's where we are. That's where we are. And a lot has happened in 2025. Some of us are just like done with 2025 and want it to be over. But here we are. Here we are. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Touch Base Daily. It is our Motivation Monday, so we'll have our motivation quote for today, and that will be on the topic of a love affair with life. So that's what we're going to do here, and that will be on that. And let me just put that on the screen so you'll see it. So this is what it's that. That's us. That's what we'll be doing. That's what we'll be doing on the love affair of life. There you go. Okay. There you go. Love affair with life. And so that's what we'll be doing on our Motivation Monday as we close out. We'll probably end this about roughly around 12 o'clock. And that's because I have to get back to work. I have to get ready for a photo shoot tomorrow. I got to get my prepping for the proposal photos I did on yesterday. On Sunday. Yeah, Saturday. On Saturday. And then I still have to get some more photos left. The last bundle of photos for another client that was from last Wednesday. So it's been a busy week. It's been a busy week. So there you have it. So I got to get to work. Got to get to work. Anyway, first person in the building. Good morning to the wonderful, happy Monday, fam, says Mr. Brian Young Creative is in the building. The men are in the building today. Derek is early as well. And he says, and he gets the silver. He says, good morning. Yes, Brian Young Creative, good morning. And I know Derek means he's saying good morning to everybody. Yes. So welcome. I wonder, should I include the Instagram folks? I don't know why I keep putting Instagram on here. It really doesn't matter with Instagram these days, but it's like advertisement. So let me just put it up there. Let me put the Instagram folks on board and get that squared away. But yeah, so how was your weekend? What did you do? Pride was yesterday. So Pride month is over and technically today. But yes, it was the last festivity weekend. And so we had a Pride March. I was going to go and photograph it, but I was so exhausted. And I said, let me take advice from some of my peers in our community. They said, Ron, you need to rest. And so I did. I just stayed home, looked at, have you guys been watching the last season, the final season of the Squid Games on Netflix? Oh my gosh. The Squid Game on Netflix is insane. I mean, I'm gonna see if I can get that up here because I was like, holy moly. Season 1 was great. Season 2 was like, okay, cool. But season 3 was, oh my goodness, it was crazy. And so there you have it. Let me just try to do a couple of things at one time. Let me finish off with our wonderful Instagrammers and get them all plugged in here. Okay, so the Instagrammers I'm plugging in. And there we go. Eventually I'll go back to doing TikTok. But TikTok is like another animal. And I'm like, it's a lot of work to be on TikTok. It's work. And speaking of TikTok, they say Trump might have a buyer. But guess what he said? He said, you'll know in what? 2 weeks. That means he'll have nothing. Anytime he uses the 2 weeks, he's lying. I'm learning there's a pattern here. Anytime Trump says, oh, I'll tell you in 2 weeks, or this is happening in 2 weeks, he's lying. He's always lying. But anyway, anytime his mouth is moving, he is lying. So that's to be expected anyway, right? He's a liar. But yeah, so now that is all cleared up. And now we got our Instagrammers can pop on here as well. But they're like the Instagrammers. The Instagrammers. Also, welcome to those that are listening from LinkedIn. You're always here. I don't ever give you a shout out, and I need to give you more of a shout out. I need to give more attention to the LinkedIn folks. You are here. Some of you guys are here, and you're pulling through, and you're sharing, and you are more than welcome to comment. It will show up on the screen that you are commenting. So, anyways, make sure you do it, and make sure if you're in the building, make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you hit the likes. That is good for the algorithms. It just simply lets people know that we are here and that we are on. So it was a busy weekend here in New York City. And unfortunately, speaking of pride, there was an incident yesterday. They had, I think, a shooting in front of Stonewall last night. It was just horrible. And again, this is another reason why I avoid large crowds. Unless I'm getting paid to do some of this stuff, I'm not doing it anymore. And I will rather just walk around the city like we did on Saturday and just enjoy the people in Herald Square and photographing them and just photographing people about their regular day, than to, I used to do all the pride parades. I did all the, pride march. It's not called a parade. It's called a march. The pride marches. And I would do the parades. I would do the dance parades, all the other stuff. But I realize in the current environment we live in, it's becoming more antagonistic, dangerous. And so it's not worth it. It's not worth it, especially when I'm trying to get out of here and live life. It's like, wait a minute, let me just live life. But here we go. Let me see the squid. Here we go. Oh, let me get it up here. Oh, let me get it up here. Okay, So, how many of you have heard of the Squid Games? Have you ever heard of the Squid Games? Maybe you haven't. But it is Netflix. It was at one time Netflix #1 show of all times. It is a Korean-based Netflix show. The director is North Korean. I think it's not North Korean, but Korean. I think South Korean. South Korean, and I do believe the whole cast is Korean. So you see, and it's so good, and it's an adventure. It's fun. It's thoughtful. It makes you like on the edge of your seat. If you want a roller coaster of a ride series on Netflix, not Siri. No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Series. Then you will enjoy. Just get on the screen. Here we go. Let me show you it. Why did it come up? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Netflix. I'll keep it on silent, but this is the Netflix series. Doggone commercials.
When you need a lift,
the commercials gotta come on. I'll just let it play through.
Financial friend.
Oh god.
Your BFF. Experian.
Okay.
Strong enough to help you push past financial obstacles.
This is a good
so
commercial.
Even when you have a big expense, you have new solutions that can make a big difference. Well, you do
just
have
want
that
to bring it to your attention.
Wherever your journey takes you.
So if you start hearing banging, they're fixing my tiles in my bathroom. So here it is. Look at this. So this is the host. It's language, nudity, sex, smoking, suicide, violence. It has it all. It has it all. And so this is just a snippet. And I'll just kind of like snip through. because I can't give you more than a bunch of minutes, but
in my town,
it takes place
we
in
had
Korea.
a game called the...
And then you see, let me give you right there. There's then you got the...
I come from a very long line of Buddhists.
It is a really good series, and check it out. Like I said, I can't.
Eczema.
I don't want to get in trouble, but there you go. There you have it.
Obvious.
And check it out. It is worth it. Worth watching the 3 seasons, and I guarantee you, once you start, you won't stop. And okay, there's some more people in the building. I see in the building, Chris gets the bronze. Chris gets the bronze. She says, good morning. Elise is in the building. She says, good morning, Ron and everyone. And I see the love from between you guys. Aya is in the building. Aya says, grand rising. Hi, Ron and everyone. And Jazzy Jazz is in the building. Good morning, beautiful people. Lisa says, good morning, everyone. And I see again, more love, more love. If it was 100, if it was 100 commercials would be, oh, Kimmy, it's always got to be commercials everywhere. And when you look at YouTube, commercials. I am so tired of the American commercials. I'm done. I cannot wait to share the rest of the world with you guys, because you're going to realize, wow, the world is quite different from America. Make sure you get a cup from Hello Healing. Make sure you get it. Go to Lisa Celia on Instagram. Go to her link tree and check it out. But anyway, who else is out there? Who else is in there? Okay, so what should I also share with you all? Like I said, it's going to be an easy day. I'm not going to be here long. Any topics that you are interested in? Well, first of all, we know what's happening with the big, ugly bill. And the Democrats are trying to hold it off. The Democrats are trying to hold it off. So kudos to the Democrats. But they don't have the numbers, and just like clockwork, what's her name? McKinsky from the senator from Alaska. These Republicans are the weakest politicians I have ever read about in history. These people are literally the worst of the worst. What's her name? Anyone know her first? The senator from Alaska. And she was talking about, when she had her little town meeting, she was saying, well, this is happening and that's happening, and we can't stand up to Trump because the yada, yada, yada. And then she says, I don't think I would vote on this bill because this bill is going to hurt people. But guess what? She voted yes. She got a little carve out. They said some of the things that are going to affect the rest of the country, Alaska is exempt. I mean, really? They are all trying to make deals for their states. Yep. That's what Lee says. Because they know how bad this thing is. But I have to tell you, I was impressed that the Democrats said, you know what? Because most of the senators don't know what's in the bill. And then on top of that, which is sad because that happens all the time, even though they read the bill, most of the senators, Republicans, weren't even in the building. Right? Most of the time, the senators are not even in the building. And none of these senators, well, I should say none of them, the majority of the senators, especially Republicans, don't even know what's in the bill. Lisa, there she is. Lisa McCoskey. Yes. She is horrible. I sat there and said, no backbone. No, they have no. And then you know, you got the what's his name, the from North Carolina, the senator from North Carolina, that said no, but then also said, I'm not running for re-election. So they only get a backbone, like Romney, a backbone, when they know that they're not going to run. These are the worst people in the planet. These are the worst. We are living in the worst, one of the worst periods in American history. I can't say the worst. One of the worst. Because America has had some bad chapters. America has had some bad chapters. So I can't say it's the worst. It's the worst in our generation, probably. Right? All the Gen Xers. I'm the end of the baby boomers. So I'm like the bridge. But the Gen Xers and younger, they ain't never seen anything like this before. This is the worst in Gen X's generation and after. This is the worst. And when you have Elon Musk coming out against the bill, and again, you know, can I be frank? All these cuts that they're making would make sense, even though it's a horrible thing. All these cuts would make sense if they weren't going to still run up the deficit by giving the rich people a tax cut and continuing with the tax cuts from the other Trump tax cut that expires this year. It would make sense if they truly were trying to save the country deficits. It would make sense. But no, they're cutting off all of this stuff that are going to help lives, but now are going to unalive people in the lives of people around the country, young, old, middle-aged, black, white, all colors, skin colors, everyone's going to be affected, but mainly the red states. Okay, what are you guys saying? What are you guys saying? Because I love the conversation when it's a conversation. Oh, yeah, Lisa says, I thought she was saying she was going to switch parties. Hell no. This Lisa Murkowski, she is the worst. She is weak. Sometimes she just pisses me off just listening to her. Ugh. Because she's so freaking weak. Weak. Ugh. And Derek says, what happened to Sarah Palin? You don't hear about or from her since the Obama presidency. Yes, you do. Derek, yeah, you may not have been listening. She comes out of the attic once in a while. I mean, she had a lot of drama in her family. But oh yeah, Sarah's over there. Sarah was on Fox a couple of months ago. She was on Fox. Sarah has gone nowhere. Miss Palin she had a TV show. And I think she has a podcast. I think so. She hasn't gone anywhere. They just don't cover her on mainstream media. She's still crazy. She's still crazy. Kimmy said the climate is bad for politicians, though, because of the threats and violence. I agree, but you know what? I know easier said than done, because we have, we're not getting death threats every day. But there's always people that are threatening other people. Always. Always. You know how many unalive threats Obama received when he was in office? More than any person in public life. The threats that he received daily. Yeah. The most in public life history. No one has got more unaliving threats than Obama. So I tell you, you have to take a stand. You have to take a stand. Brian says the GOP continues to purge when one of their own don't agree with. Yes, they do the purging with the clown. When they don't agree with the clown. Okay, Lisa says, what about the Baptist Church taking $300,000 from Target? And they sponsored Essence Fest too. Apparently, it was an old contract that needed to be adhered to. Yep. Because we always forget some of these organizations have contracts that they have to fulfill. But then, I know that Roland Martin, on his platform, they were pissed off by the Baptist church that took that $300,000. They were upset. I don't even know what was the outcome after that, but they were upset with that black church. They were upset with them taking that $300,000 from Target. Yes, they were. They were upset. Kimmy says, is he only coming out, though, because of the crazy increase of the debt? Nothing else. I'm not sure what that means, Kimmy Kim. Is he only coming out, though, because of the crazy increase in the debt? Illy says they don't care about people. They don't care about their constituents, but their constituents don't care because the constituents, their racism is greater than their own care for their own welfare. Think about that. You have to become some kind of sick person. The power of racism, and the unliking of the others. We don't like them because they're not like us. That's a powerful drug. I mentioned that on the Don Lemon show when I put my comments in. Racism, and you got to see it. I mean, it was a great show today on Don Lemon. Jen, I forgot her last name, but she has her own podcast. She's amazing. They don't care about people, but they don't care about their own people because the red states, I keep saying it over and over again, the red states are the takers, the blue states are the givers. If it wasn't for the blue states, the red states would be done. We give to them more than they give to us. As a matter of fact, they don't ever give to us. The red states never give. They can't. They're poor. They're uneducated. They're illiterate. They're, whatever. A lot of them. But they are ruled by their racism. They lost their minds when Obama was the president. They couldn't believe it. How in the world did that, you know what they called him, got into the White House, right? And then it's the rich politicians in the red states that play on the ignorance of the people in the red states, the ignorance and the stupidity and the dumbness. The red states, the worst in literacy, the worst in healthcare, the worst in every statistic, high drug rates, fentanyl. But yet, these people still keep voting for the people that don't like them. Do you really think Mr. Cruz loves the people of Texas? No. He proves it over and over again. He could care less about the people of Texas, but they keep putting him in. And when he's up against decent people, great people that could be great senators for the state, that's the power of the drug of racism. The other. Jesse said it makes no sense and never has because they are cutting resources to line their own pockets. Even Warren Buffett, who I follow, I love Warren Buffett, says rich people don't need a tax break. Warren Buffett, one of the most famous investors in American history, says rich people do not need a tax break. That's what's going on. And this big ugly bill strips away everything. Now they just realize, people just realize it's not just Medicaid that they're stripping away, it's Medicare as well. It's Medicare as well. So Medicare, Medicaid. Oh, man. But yet those people will vote for them still. Like they were saying in a conversation this week on one of the talk shows, they said, do you think MAGA will finally give up and say, oh, we're done with Trump? No, they won't. Because their racism is so much greater. Their allegiance to the cult is so much greater. Jazzy says, greed is good. I used to say that all the time when I used to work on Wall Street, when I used to work at the stock exchange. Gecko from Wall Street, the movie. Greed, for a lack of a better word, is good. Remember that speech? Right? In the movie Wall Street? I used to quote that all the time because I was a Republican. I say this because I was a crazy Republican. I have been converted. I was a capitalist. I was never a MAGA Republican, but I was a Republican. And a lot of that thinking I used to think until I woke up. That's why I can speak about it, because I lived it. Lisa Seeley says the Amanda Seeley's video video you sent me was interesting. It was. Yes, can I take you to the videotape? Can I take you to the videotape, y'all? Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about it. I think I saved it. Hold on a second. Please let me have saved it. Yes. Yes. You know I've been saying this for the longest, and all my friends know I've been saying this for the longest. I have been saying this for more than 3 years, even when Biden was in office. When I saw what was happening in the last administration, I've been saying this for years. My friends will vouch for me. I've been saying this for years. Y'all want to hear what I'm talking about? Well, I sent a little video to some of my close friends in these online streets. Listen to this. And this is to wake everyone up, because this is real. And Amanda Seales, she nails it. She nails it. Listen to this. Listen up, y'all. Listen to her.
I see a lot of Black people saying, well, they can't deport Black people because we here. Honey, I know you don't think they're building all of these detention centers for immigrants. I know you can't think that. See, what happens is that, let's just say worst case scenario, they change the definition of citizenship to exclude your black ass. Now you are here illegally. And so the practice that they've been doing, running up on all these folks, they will now do to you. And they will put your ass in that jail to continue the tradition of slave labor that is already in the Constitution. They don't even have to change nothing for that. Yeah. And some people think that what I'm saying is some like real fantastical, impossible concept. It's not. The Supreme Court ruled in the Dred Scott case and basically said black people do not have rights. We are not citizens. So if anything goes left, we don't get to fight it the way that the other folks do. If you are a free black man and you get kidnapped and taken down south, you don't get due process. You don't get to fight it. Like, you don't get none of that. You better hope that somebody come and help you and save you, but it's not written down in the Constitution that you have rights. Even though you were a free black man, you were still not a citizen. Because ultimately, they would define this often by your ability to vote at a certain point in time, your ability to own land at a certain point in time. So I know some people think that we've made it so far that these things cannot be reversed. And I just don't ever believe that. The fact of the matter is the 14th Amendment was only put in that Constitution in response to the Dred Scott case and after black people had fought in the Civil War. But you got enough black folks now who are willing to weaponize their blackness to go along with white supremacy that they would help them come up with a definition that included them. This is why I keep saying we are at a crucial crossroads for what black identity is in this nation. And folks are going to be forced to choose. Am I black or am I American?
That was, how many of y'all agree?
So I just wanted to step in because
let me pop this off. Hold on a second. Like, really, do you, right? Are you guys listening? That's why I'm saying, and I know it's hard to imagine, but I am so glad that some of my friends are waking up. One of my friends mentioned this weekend and said, Ron, I see what you're doing. You have encouraged me to get out of my debt. I'm clearing the slate. I'm paying off everything. And I am going to go and he said, I'm getting a smaller apartment so I can pay down my debt. So if I have to get out of this country, I can. I know people are saying, oh my gosh, Ron, I know you can say that because you have the benefit of doing it. And not everybody in America can do it. Not all black people can do it. Not all poor people can do it. But you have to have a strategy, whatever that strategy is. And like she says, they can change. Look, they already are trying to change birthright citizenship. Why was that amendment put there? That was because of us. There's a meme going on online on Instagram that the very person, Trump, Mr. Clown, because he had a mother and a father that were immigrants, he enjoyed the benefit of the amendment of birthright citizenship. And the man that received it is the one that wants to take it down. It's almost like Thomas, was it Clarence Thomas? Clarence Thomas, right? Clarence Thomas, after he benefited from affirmative action, then wants to burn the bridge behind him. These are sickos. Their minds are warped. I know I'm coming out of the arena, but and what she said is right. Because once you are incarcerated, for whatever that reason is, you now can be used as slave labor. It's in the Constitution. They didn't ban slavery 100% out. They left a little wiggle room. Think, folks. We got to think. We got to think. We got to think outside the box. Elise says most people don't even understand why it exists based on the Dred Scott ruling that he's not a real person. He's not a citizen. He was he was a slave in a non-slave state. The slave owner dies, and now he wants his freedom from the widow, and he sues and loses because he's not a citizen. So they had to create a bill to make Black people, the enslaved, the once enslaved, to be citizens, birthright, born on the soil. And all the lawyers can go even deeper into it. Jazzy says, most people can't do it. Most don't even have 1K saved up. Where are we going? I'm all for strategy, but what is one that we can implement here? One is, I can give you an implementation. Because I have been around these streets, I'm 61 years old, and I've seen a lot. I used to work at Foot Locker. And I was always amazed of the line that used to wait outside for Jordan sneakers to come out. And then I watched also the Black community get upset with Bill Cosby when he said, forget the Jordan sneakers, get hooked on phonics. They would take their checks, even if it was their last, and buy Jordan shoes for a child that feet will grow out of those shoes. There's a will, there's a way. Now, I know there's some honestly poor people in the country, and not everyone can leave, and not everyone can go. But you can start stacking up on food. You can start stacking up on things you need. Now, I know not everyone's going to agree with me. I don't expect you to. But I know I watched people in my own life that had very little money, but would have enough money to buy a thing that was pretty much unnecessary. We've all done it. I've done it. Some of us have racked up all kinds of debt. We've all done it. But at some point you have to say, even though I am poor, even though I don't have money, and I'm not talking about the severely poor. We all know that's another conversation. But for those that can, need to be hearing what's going on. Not everyone is if you're a religious person, you believe in Jesus's words, the red letters. Jesus said the poor will always be among us. Right? Jesus said the poor will always be with us. That's just a given. And it's our job as those that have more could give to the least of them, or those that don't have. But if we could think about some of the things that we have that are unnecessary. I mean, I've just done a whole purge job. I look around my house and say, how many things I did not need? How much money did I waste? How much money did I throw away? Right? I'm coming to you as a grandpa. How about that? If I could live life over again, I would say, don't buy that thing. That was unnecessary. Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. Of course, you're going to make better decisions after the fact, hopefully. We all should learn from our mistakes. And when we're young, we are foolish. When we're young, we're foolish. We don't have experience to help us make better decisions. When I was younger, I lived in polo. I had my polo shirts, my polo sweaters, my polo ties, my polo jackets. I worked on Wall Street, and I spend my money accordingly. Luckily, I had a wise man in my life, my mother's boyfriend at the time, that pulled me over to the side and said, Ron, boy, he didn't say Ron, he said, boy, that's how he talked back then. He said, boy, I don't want you to end up like these guys on the corner. I don't want you to end up like these guys driving their cars and don't have anything to show for it. He was an older man. He was probably in his 40s at that time because I was in my 20s. I was 20. And he said to me, the first chance you get, take your money and save it up and then buy yourself a piece of property. And I looked at him like, what? Me buy property? Oh, okay, but I'll put my, but then I said, it made sense. I was like, okay. And then when I turned 30, opportunity came along because I listened to him 10 years before, put money in my 401k, and bought this apartment when the opportunity showed up. And how many times did this apartment save me? Every time I got laid off, I was able to refinance. I know that there's different levels of this. And I know that there, it may sound insensitive on some levels. But I also have lived a life. I've lived a while. For instance, and I always mention this, I've had the opportunity to travel to some of the poorest places in the world. I've had the opportunity to brush shoulders with some of the most interesting, wealthy people and some of the poorest people. And I will tell you, I will share with you on this Motivation Monday share. I was in a restaurant last week. A woman came in, probably had nothing. She was a poor woman. She came in looking for food from the restaurant owner that I was in the restaurant. The restaurant owner gave her food. Do you know that she complained about the food that she received free? And then got upset because things weren't the way she thought they should be. Yet she was hungry, asking for food. The man gave her free food. Where am I going with this? America is a unique place. And I've seen this several times. This is not just a one-off. I've been in many situations where I watch people that don't have, someone gives to them, and then they complain about the thing that they needed that someone took out of their time and gave to them. I've watched in New York City, because it's happened to me several times, that someone says, can you spare $1? Could you spare this? Could you spare whatever? And then you give them the money. And they say, that's all you have? That's all you have? America is a very unique place. When you travel around the globe, poor people don't operate that way. It's only in America. It's only in America that I've experienced privilege among the poor. Like I said, I'm just going for a point here. America has so much. We all have so much. When you go to another country and you run into poor people in another country, the poor people are not like that. The poor people will go out and say, Mister, how can you? They may have their hand out, but when you give to them, they're so thankful. They're so grateful. And that's not to say all people that are poor in America don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a unique place that America has so much. And could it be that the country has lost its way because it has so much? So much. Even the poor people are privileged, or at least acted. But when I'm in other countries, the poor people are so thankful. And now we'll take it another step. Dr. Tachi Kaval, she's in community. She knows. And I used to go to Nigeria every year for 8 years. And the people that were poor, and I would run into them and have a conversation with them or talk to them, or they were working in somewhere next in my vicinity, and I having a conversation, and then they say, "Oh, Mr. Ron, Mr. Ron, could I help you with this? Mr. Ron, could I help you with that? Mr. Ron," and they don't want nothing in return. As a matter of fact, they sometimes will have their last, and because you are in their environment, they will give you their last. And you would say, wait a minute, they are poor. How is it possible that they are offering me their last? It was the most, of all the things I had to learn in traveling overseas, was that I had to become humble and say, yes, you may help me. Because I did not know in certain countries that when a poor person or any person asks you or say, offer their help to you, and for you to say no is an insult. It's an insult for you to turn down the help of someone. When someone says, may I help you with? And you say, no, thank you. In a lot of countries, your no thank you is an insult. In some countries, They will offer you glasses of water, or they will offer you something because you're in their space and they don't have themselves, but they will offer it to you. Wait till we go on the road. Wait till we take this Touch Base Daily on the road and you are in other countries. Wait till I share with you the rest of the world. You are going to, it's going to blow the socks off of you. You're going to like, wow. I have been humbled. I have been put in a place of tears, because when you see someone that doesn't have giving their all to you and you're a stranger, that's some kind of, we're not used to that in America. I mean, this is not a universal all across the board. There are exceptions to every rule. There's some kind people in America. There's some people in America that will give you their last. But it's not a cultural thing. It is not the norm. Am I making sense to anyone out there? So what am I saying about this? You know, what she just said about we need to get ready and get prepared. This is becoming more urgent to me than ever before. Do you think I really want to sell my apartment? Do you really think I want to change my life around? But part of this is that if I can get out there, because I have the means to do so at this point, to do it, and be the guinea pig for you, then it's worth it. If I could pop around to different places and say, oh, this place is going to be friendly to my friends from America. Because believe it or not, don't believe the hype that you can't afford. And I guarantee you, again, this is not across the board. But there are some people that say they can't afford to do changes in their lives, and they can. You just have to reevaluate. I remember when I was working on Wall Street, making big money, everybody. I was just telling my friends yesterday, my neighbors in the courtyard. And then I lost my plush, nice job on Wall Street. And then I went to work for Foot Locker. And then I made 25 cents out of every dollar I made on Wall Street. I'll say it again, 25 cents out of every dollar I made on Wall Street. It was a rude awakening. And I had to learn to reorganize my life, get rid of stuff that I didn't think I need, get rid of cable. That's when I got rid of cable. That was the reason why I got rid of cable back in 2001 or 2002. Had a cable bill that was like $150 or something like that. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can't afford this. I got rid of it. Instead of eating out, I ate in. Instead of traveling like I used to, I used to just travel locally. So where there's a will, there's a way. But we as a community here, we have to start waking up and do the little things. I used to laugh about my mother. My mother didn't have money. But my mother would never buy anything that wasn't a brand name. And I said, Mom, you don't need to buy the brand name. We don't care. Just buy toothpaste. Just buy regular toothpaste. Save $1, save 50 cents here. We have to rethink, guys. We have to rethink. We got to re-strategize. Right? We have to start thinking like our grandparents. We have to start thinking about those that survived those great recessions and depressions and start buying. And you hear me say it ever since last year. When you go to the store, buy an extra can. Good. Buy an extra bag of rice. If you do it incrementally over time, you'll have. Not everyone can leave. Not everyone can leave, but you can stock up. You can stock up. You can be prepared in case things go awry. We cannot put our heads in the sand and think it's going to not affect us. It's going to affect all of us. All of this stuff that, if that big bill goes through, y'all, it's going to hurt everyone. It's going to hurt all of us. Shoot, some of us may not even be able, we think we can get out the country. We may not be able to get out the country. Those that want to get out the country, those that can get out the country. I don't know if you saw the report this weekend, or I think it was Friday. Lots of scientists from America are leaving to move to France while they can, because America has become so hostile to science. So scientists, some of our greatest minds, are leaving America. I'm just bringing highlights on all this stuff. But again, whatever you can do to help yourself, help yourself. Help your family. Help the people around you. Build community. Share with your community. If you learn something, share it with your community. If you get education on something, share it with your community. I'm only sharing this because I'm sharing from experience. I'm not sharing something I don't know. I've been poor. I've been without money, where I had to ask for car fare to just get to college and get to school because my parents didn't have money. My mom didn't have money. My neighbors supported to get me through college. I didn't even know how I was going to get on the subway train. But I do know also we waste a lot. We all do it. We're Americans. It's part of our society. We're consumers. We consume. So that's my Motivation Monday. My Motivation Monday. I was going to talk about the other thing, but I just going to leave it like that. It's just let me just see what you guys are saying. I know you guys you probably say, Ron has done gone off. He done gone off the rails. I haven't. I'm just concerned that a lot of people I'm talking to don't think this can happen here in America. Yet, we've seen so much happen since January 21st. I remember Joy Reid was saying on her show last week, she goes, it's not that we didn't know it was going to happen. We didn't realize it was going to happen this fast. We have to be diligent and know what's going on. Elise says, we definitely waste a lot. I know that. I am guilty of it. We are all guilty of it. We are Americans. But we have to now start thinking differently. We have to start thinking strategically. How do we save? How do we put money away? People say, Ron, how did you get an LLC? When my boss at that time, who was a bigot, did not like black men, did not like men, period, went after all of us and went after me. And I went home and I was in tears. I was like, how am I going to change? I got a horrible supervisor, a horrible manager. And what am I going to do about it? And then, you sit still. Silence is the best medicine in times of turmoil. Silence, just being in silence. And I got a small little voice that says, you can't afford it, but you must do this. Take $50 out of every paycheck and put it in an account for your LLC. And I did that every paycheck. $50, boop, $50, boop. Couldn't afford it because I had, remember, my lifestyle was totally different at the time I was on Wall Street. And put the money aside. And then finally, after months and months of savings, I was able to go onto LegalZoom and set up my LLC for my interior design company, which my photography company came out of it.
Contact info for Nobel BioCare LLC.
and then I had an LLC, and it made the difference in my life. It was a major difference, but it was not easy. It almost looked impossible. Back then I had $1,000 on one of my credit cards, and I was like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. So I'm going to have to pay the credit card off slower. But I got to pay for the thing that's immediately necessary for me to live on. Yeah, Siri started to act up over here. But, right? Am I saying something that's crazy? Am I saying something that's far-fetched? Jazzy says, and I get it. I know Jazzy. I know Jazzy's heart. Jazzy says, as a community, I will say that we have way more money than we are willing to share with the community to make it a better place for all, because we are taught to be self-serving. That's the American way. The American way is all about the individual. It does not exist. My buddy, when I used to go to Nigeria and I used to help his team of his staff, and he used to get upset with it. He used to get upset. And I'll say, dude, why are you upset? He goes, you know why? Why am I upset? Because what I say has very little weight. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, I can't even use the threat of firing someone to get them in line. And I said, so I'm new to Nigeria. I'm new in Nigeria. I don't know the customs. I don't know what's going on. He goes, if I fire him today, it won't matter. And I said, why would you say that? He says, because his community will take care of him. He will go back to his community, wherever that is, whether it's a village, most likely it's just a community, because most villages are way outside of Lagos. Villages are way out. So he will go to his community. That's what he said. He will go to his community, and he will tell his community, I just lost my job today. And guess what will happen? The community will be engaged to help him. The woman next door will feed him. The man down the block or 3 doors down will give him a little something to help him to get by. This is what the other parts of the world have that we have lost. We had it in America at one time, and we as a Black community had it when we, before we received so many benefits of living in America. But he would say, I can't fire this dude. I can't get rid of him because it will matter. It will have no significant thing. Yes, he will have no job. but the community will take care of him until he finds another one. And that was the first time my light bulb went on. It's my first time, maybe that was my first or second time. It was my first time in Nigeria. And I said, wow, we need that in America. And then I was reminded when I came back home and shared the story with a lot of folks. And my elders were saying, Ron, that's how we used to operate. That's how the Black community used to operate all the time. If Bubba lost his job, then the rest of the community is going to take care of him until he gets off his feet. He can't afford this. The rest of the people in the community will take care of him. They will help him out until he gets off his feet. I should say until he gets on his feet. Elise says, we bought into the individualism pushed by the white community. And Dr. Tati says, why Bubba? Because I love Bubba. I love Bubba from Forrest Gump. Bubba's one of my favorite characters in movies. Bubba. It was a famous name back in the Southern days. Bubba was a normal name, a common name. What did Lisa say? Lisa says, at least compared to Asians at 30 days and Jews at 20 days, we have to be better. Yes. We have to do better. Elise says, the Black community was like that when I was growing up. This is wisdom, y'all. I can give you a little wisdom. I give you a little something. I've lived a couple of years. Right? Some of y'all are midway through the journey. Some of us are already on the other side of the line of the journey. We're at the end part of our journeys. Elise says, exactly, Lisa. Our dollar only stays in our community 6 hours. That's why we have to support Black brands as much as possible. There's many ways we can help each other. Lisa says again, let's be reminded we only keep the money in our community for 6 hours. Janet says, you're right on target. Thank you, Janet. This bill is going to be, if this bill passes, it's going to be ugly. It's going to get real ugly in this country. And people don't understand what's in that bill. That bill also has lots of money to expand ICE, to go after more people, to deport more people, to build concentration camp-like places. You see what's going on in Florida right now, how the indigenous people and the environmentalists this weekend gathered together to stop this prison that's called Alligator Alcatraz. We all need each other. None of us can do this by ourselves. None of us. And that bill has more, it is ugly. That bill has more things that are going to hurt us rather than, there's no benefits to the bill. They threw in some of these little things like, oh, you're going to have less taxes on your tips. Like your tips. Come on. But yet some people are excited about that because Anna Mae that works in the diner in Oklahoma, she's like, oh, I want to have no taxes on my tips. Meanwhile, she ain't got a hospital. She has no dental plan. She has no medical plan. She has no highway. She has no schools. But yes, she got her tip. No tax on her tips. They give you these little bananas. Like you ever see the old cartoons? The little banana in front of you and the little donkey keeps going after the banana. Don't believe. Everything is a rouge. Shadi says, but anime taxes are still going to get paid by the masses. Dr. Taji says, this bill is meant to appeal to the lowest common denominator, meaning people who don't see the problems and only see the tiny shreds of carrots they are being thrown. Woo! Dr. Tachi, that was wisdom there. Mimi says, good day, Ron and RP crew. You speaking facts. Shadi says, which again is self-serving. So there you have it, y'all. I have nothing more to say. Nothing more to say. Oh, no, I can say more. You know I can, because I got the gift of gab. But I won't say anything else. I've said enough. I've said enough. And I've seen you guys moving in here and chatting and sharing your thoughts. So much so it was so going by so fast I couldn't click on them. Lisa says, they want to eliminate the muscles. They want the super rich and then the poor labor. They want us all to be poor labor. Because this time slavery is not going to be about black and white. I'm sorry, black people alone. The new slavery that's coming is everybody. Everybody. If you're sick, they're getting rid of, think about it. You have no safety nets. No safety nets. So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to work for pennies. Yes, Dr. Tashi, I do have an event. Well, no outside events. I just got editing to do here at the house. And they are fixing the bathroom. They're working on the tiles today. So, like Elise always talks about, this is classism at its best. I should say caste. This is a beginning of the new caste system. See, Lisa says, Ron, why did I just almost spit my coffee out the way you said everybody? Everybody. That depends. Daisy says, question, how much should we stock up for? 6 months of food storage is not practical. Just stock up. You don't know. We don't know. Even the historians are saying this is uncharted territory. What is going on in this government under Project 2025 is unprecedented. Just save as much as you can. Just store if you can. A lot of people don't have places to store, but a lot of people do. The best things, the non-perishables, canned foods, bags of rice, bags of beans, stuff like that. Put money somewhere in the house. Hide it somewhere in the house. Put it in a tin box. Put it somewhere in case the ATMs don't work tomorrow. Every bit counts to your survival. And I know one of my friends, she said, my daughters don't get it. They just don't get it. We have to help our young people understand what's coming. They don't have a clue. We older folks, we have a clue because we were taught it from our older people that were in our lives. Yeah, some people do. Janet said, when you stock up, you won't consume as much. Correct. Janet's giving us some wisdom, right? Look to the people that are older in this community. They have wisdom that they can give you. He says, I saw a video where a lady dehydrated 6 Costco rotisserie chickens and then canned them. I was shocked. You can do it. That's why I'm a believer of every time someone tells me I can't, they can't, we can't, why can't, we can. We just got to find a way. We can find a way. Okay. Love you guys. That's our Monday, Motivation Monday. I don't have a quote for you today. I did have a quote, but I'm going to just move it right along. And just beware. Listen, and when you're online, listen to the folks that are trying to give you wisdom. While we have this internet, let's use it to our benefit. While we have this internet, let's use it to our benefit. Let's learn everything we can. Let's learn all about the Black history. Let's learn about American history. Let's learn about the Constitution as they continue to try to tear it apart. Yeah. Yes, Jazzy says you can buy emergency prep food that has a shelf life of 25 years. Lisa says canning is making a comeback. It's all over the internet. You go on some of these TikTokers are doing it, and these YouTubers and all the other folks. We have the internet, y'all. We can learn. The best university in the world is online. Okay, guys, I'm out. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you make sure you hit the likes, if you are into this community, and if you want to share what we do here, make sure you share. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tip Tuesday, and we will be talking tomorrow we will not be here tomorrow. I forgot. Tomorrow I have a big photo shoot during this hour, so we will not be on. I will not be here tomorrow. Maybe someone else will take over. Maybe we'll see. I may have to check in with Chris. I had to call Chris in, but I will not be here tomorrow. But maybe Chris or Gwendolyn will be here. Okay, so because I will be on location tomorrow. I forgot about that. Okay, guys, thank you again. Have a wonderful day. Love each other. Care about each other. Support one another. Be here for one another. Build community, whether it's your neighborhood, here online, at your workplace. Build community. We will survive. We are going to survive because we are about community. Later. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.